People are starting to ask questions about whether or not James Gunn is actually going to be doing anything with Batman in the DCU. I'd mentioned this earlier in the week that conversations around the DCU are starting to shift. Okay, you can imagine probably, in the next couple of weeks after Peacemaker wraps up, there will be a look back on that going, wow, that wasn't very good at all, even though Rotten Tomatoes and just, when it debuted, it was one of the highest rated. It just about had a perfect Rotten Tomatoes score, but now, sentiment's starting to turn on it. When we actually get some ratings on that, we'll realize that nobody was watching it. But hey, people still like Superman, right? The conversation hasn't turned on that at all whatsoever, right? Now that we're getting more tangible information that nobody actually gives a shit about what James Gunn has to do with DC, how much longer is it going to take before calls for his job start to manifest? I would imagine post Supergirl. We'll be paying attention to this because this is not a story that's going to be going away anytime soon. And now, well, we know that he's trying his damnedest to ruin Superman. But if he goes after, I would say, is it arguable at this point? Like, I really like the character of Superman, so that's why I'm taking this a little bit personally. But in regards to, like, is Batman the most popular superhero that's out there? I would think so. Like, Spider-Man's real close, but I think Batman full stop is probably the most popular superhero, and definitely, is it definitely? I would say, I think so. I would struggle to have a concrete counterexample, but Batman's fandom is probably the most ravenous, and now Gunn is, well, he's trying to pick a fight with them. Bro, this is, if you thought the Snyder Bros were too much, you ain't seen nothing yet, but James Gunn finally gives a promising update about the DCU's Batman. I mean, we could kind of surmise what his take on Batman has been so far with the amount of Superman projects that he's putting out there and how he's touting everything except for Matt Reeves' upcoming project as sort of an indication as to what Warner's allowing him to do with Batman. But anyways, Batman is a character, yes, who has been adapted in several forms of media, including live-action movie. Are we sure Sharisti Mishra wrote this and not fucking ChatGPT? But yes, James Gunn announced a new Batman movie titled The Brave and the Bold as part of his God and Monsters roster. The fandom was ecstatic. Yeah, that is, of course, until James started to just talk, and then continued to talk, and then talked about the talk that he was given, and then talking about the talk that he was given, about the talk that he was given. The guy hasn't shut the fuck up. And now he's not really talking about Batman in particular. He's talking about the costume. And that has been a point of contention for a very long time. Like, okay, it generally speaks to a wider conversation about comic accuracy. And in the case of Batman, a character that has been around for 80 plus years, what exactly does comic accurate mean? Because there has been, I don't even know how many different artists for Batman over the years. You got the long ear style of Kelly Jones. You've got the classic Batman with the gray and blue. Then you got black and blue. Then you got the short ears. You got the longer ears. You got the exosuit. Or suit, rather. You've got so many different takes. So yeah, there's a bunch of different interpretations. And if you're going to be the boss of DC Studios, you can have your preferences. Nobody's saying that you can't. It's just, you have to understand that there's a suit out there for everybody. Everybody in the Batman fandom has their own favorite costume. And yeah, you probably shouldn't shit on any of them. Okay, should Batman have white eyes? That's a big subject of conversation. It's like, guys, that's really what matters. Oh, no, you're trying to go, why do you care about that stuff? And there's a lot of people out there that really care about that stuff. No, but those are the things they care about. Should his utility belt be yellow? Should he have the yellow crest around the bat? All of that sort of stuff. Yeah, depending on which run you have, because I know that there is like a narrative purpose for him having, the yellow crest on the front. It's a point to, draw the violence, as it's the most heavily armored point on Batman's costume. So yeah, he wants to draw attention to that. That's an interpretation that I've heard of one specific variation of the suit. So yeah, it makes a point narratively, all of that stuff. None of those things are what's most important to me, because yes, the DCU, DC Studios is a big James Gunn vanity project. What matters is the characters and the story, and I think we have a really, really good story now. What's happening with Batman? Oh no, if we think that you have a really, really, really good story, which you also thought about Superman, I don't think you're serious, okay? But Gunn is known for putting a talking tree and a raccoon into a film and making it a hit. Well, he's known for making a hit Marvel movie. and making shit DC projects. Okay, his offbeat humor and characters not taking themselves too seriously. Yeah, and then you had, a Superman movie where Superman was like third on the bill, and and kindness is the new punk rock, guys, and I cry at everything. As for Batman, I think it's one of the more fun things about Batman, though, is that there are many expressions of Batman that are cool, and having different ways to access the character is one of the ways in which he's so iconic. Yeah, because you can't do that with, Superman or anything like that, because he's just a Boy Scout. Fucking tards. He continued, I don't think it's a matter of blue and the gray or black Batman. I think both of those things are really cool. I like the detective Batman and also really like the fighter Batman. That's also, that's just the brute that's, fighting. Yeah, we got it. I like the silly 50s Silver Age Batman with Batmite. God, shut the fuck up about your cringe side characters. I like all these different versions of Batman. But yeah, I need to bring up Batmite because that's so very close to my personal style. And what I really like about Batman is just the tertiary goofy characters. Fucking goddamn it. Though Gunn, yes, previously hinted that his Batman will not be campy, you bring up Batmite whenever you're talking about your version of Batman. But then also, when you want to talk about Batman in particular, James Gunn uncomfortable with how religious some fans are about Batman's costume. Bro, not a good foot to get off on in regards to the Batman fandom. Because if that's the direction that you want to go, or you want to start picking a fight, you want to say that they're fanatics, you want to say that it's a little bit put off by the aggressively religious reverence some fans have to their preferred version of Batman's costume, you ain't seen nothing yet. DC fans are known, okay, full stop, for being absolutely religious about their interpretation of their favorite character. They're going into a studio that, in American literature has some of the most flushed out and extensive backstories and history in all of literature. And you want to pull the I'm intimidated by the fandom card? Fuck off. But yeah, the quote, okay, it's not everybody because I have somebody saying, please give us this Batman. And they put a picture of a blue-gray Batman on Threads or whatever. And then somebody else says, hey, you're a piece of shit. And I'm like, he's a piece of shit because he likes a costume. That's pretty hard. That's the thing. There's a religious aspect to so much of this stuff that's very uncomfortable. Should Batman have white eyes? That's a big subject of conversation. It's like, guys, that's really what matters. But those are the kind of things that you care about. Should his utility belt be yellow? Yeah, and then it goes back to the rest of the quote that Collider selectively edited on that one to not make James Gunn looks like the fucking, James Gunn that he actually is. Because honestly, yeah, okay, the people, the most religious fanatics in regards to Batman, okay, they probably have a certain affinity with a certain interpretation of Batman based on the comics that they read, that other much more intelligent minds wrote, that resonated with them. So that interpretation of Batman, those great stories that they have cherished over the years, they would like to see that Batman, they would like to see that storyline interpreted for the big screen. Because as far as I know, there's been a very, 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 very little bit of Batman we've actually seen on the big screen. And to the people who know the character a lot more than I have, we haven't really seen an actual Batman on the big screen. Like, the animated series was a lot more closer to the actual character from the books, whatever books we're talking about in particular. And so if we could actually get like a real comic book accurate Batman, that would be nice. That would be cool. But no, that's just that superficial shit. Because James Gunn, he has an idea about what he wants to do with Batman, just like he has an idea about what he wants to do with Superman. Because he would go on and he would continue to lie. Like I said, like this guy, whenever he opens his mouth, just assume it's a fucking lie. Because James Gunn denies Superman's Bravia subplot is, yes, Israel and Palestine. Claims the script was finished before the conflict began. Like, are we talking about ancient times? I don't quite think so. Okay, we'll be a little bit more charitable in this respect. But you're telling me that the Superman script was finished before October 7th, 2023. You're a fucking liar, dude. We know that that's not the case. We know that your movie went back for reshoots. We know that you didn't put a bow on the bitch until much after that. So you're a fucking liar. You're a liar. Okay, it's just like how, this is the most successful superhero film of the year, okay, in a year where it's, for the first time in a decade, a superhero film hadn't eclipsed $700 million at the box office, and now at Demon Slayer Infinity Castle has surpassed Superman at the global box office. fucking lol. But hey guys, okay, because that's all right. If we weren't trying to get the audience all prepped and primed for Peacemaker season 2, Superman, oh man, just look at that domestic box office. Funny how that conversation has really cooled down recently. But it would have done so much better because you take a look at this, okay? Superman, now that it's gone free to play over on HBO Max, hits 13 million views in 10 days of streaming. The biggest HBO Max movie launch since Barbie. Oh, okay, cool. That was back in 2023. And how long did it take for Barbie to go to HBO? I'm pretty sure it was a little bit longer than, Superman went to digital in 31 days and then a month after that. So yeah, like 2 months. So 2 months after that, okay, it went to subscription streaming, okay? And it's the biggest performing movie in 2 years. What did Warner put out last year? Well, what was their heavy hitter? So during the week of September 15th to the 21st, Super/Man, the Christopher Reeves story, saw a 670% increase on streaming compared to the week before. And yeah, I hear that's really good. I would like to get around to watching that. I just don't have a way to watch it because in Canada, you don't get access to HBO. You can go through fucking Crave or some, I don't know. You got to jump through hoops. And if you're going to make it that difficult, I might have to sail the high seas in order to watch it. But Superman the movie, 78, the best Superman movie, jumped by 155%. Superman Returns jumped to 120, and Man of Steel jumped 40%. Fucking oof. Okay, during that same window. Superman was released, yes, in theaters in July 11th. Remember, you don't want to point that out though. That's interesting. It was a box office success. Sure, it was, not being able to break even, but hey, 83% of critics on Rotten Tomatoes, guys, said that was great. But yeah, you also don't want to point out what else debuted on HBO Max. Okay, it'll be interesting to see because we don't have any other contemporary Warner Brothers movies to, compare and contrast that with, but we have contemporary superhero comparisons. The Thunderbolts bombed at the box office. No, okay, it was a rousing success. It was the best example of our new approach to quality over quantity, right? But fans watched it for free on Disney+. What? Marvel's Thunderbolts underperformed in theaters. The film has now apparently found an audience once it became free to stream on Disney+ as of August 27th. Well, that's interesting because this is a film that debuted, oh god, when did it come out? In May? I think it was May that this one came out, and then it went to Disney Plus at the end of August. Now, I ain't no mathematician, but I think 3 months is a little bit longer headway than 2 months. But the 2-month gap movie was apparently a big success, but the other one we can just go ahead and call a failure. Okay, but yes, 105% more U.S. households watched Thunderbolts on Disney Plus than paid VOD over its first 6 days. Interesting. Clear sign that fans wanted to watch it on Disney Plus as part of their subscription, basically for free, instead of paying the extra to theaters, yes, or go through VOD, which is exactly what we're seeing right here with Superman, because if you recall, after that, 31-day grace period that it was exclusively in theaters for, it wasn't that long after Superman went to paid VOD paid VOD services that it ended up getting heavily discounted to like $10. Oopsie daisy. From 30 down to 10, but now 13 million, and the biggest HBO launch since Barbie, a film that actually made $1 billion, a film that in 2 months was effectively shuffled out of theaters, and even a film that absolutely fucking tanked at the theaters, probably justifiably so, because it heard absolutely no conversations after. It's like, yeah, it was kind of funny, I guess. There were a few jokes that were great. But yeah, The Naked Gun, okay, sets Paramount Plus release date, and it's coming out, well, it just came out, in fact, okay, spoilers, I'm recording this before the movie comes to Paramount Plus, but you guys are seeing this video after it releases, so that's effectively 2 months, because if you remember, okay, this came out in theaters August 1st, so that right there is, for all intents and purposes, 2 months, and it's alright if you call this movie a flop because it goes so quickly to streaming, but you can't say the same for Superman, huh? I find that to be very, very interesting, huh? But hey guys, don't worry, James Gunn, he's definitely got a handle on Batman because he's already done such great work with Superman. I'm sure the conversation is only going to get more positive surrounding the DCU moving forward, 100%. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Godswalen. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.